Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here today for the YouTube Spirit Anchor video series and the Anchor.fm podcast series. My name is Kristin Schmidt-Dykes, and I'm so excited that you've joined us here today. Our very special guest is Johnny Medicine Bear. He's a shaman, an author, and a wonderful healer, and he's a really good friend of mine. Hi, Johnny. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thanks, Kristin. Good morning.
If you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about your background and how your shamanic journey started and where you are right now.
Well, thanks, Kristin. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I grew up as a military guy. For 20 years, I was in the Air Force and lived in a contracted energy of all of that military kind of environment. It was a real challenge for me to do anything that was, let's say, a little bit expanded or a little bit personal, a little bit energetic. And so my life was supporting all about the government, the military, fighter planes. We're right, they're wrong. A lot of separation. And I took all the feelings that I had and all the internal stuff and anesthetized it with the booze as best I could. This was my life, contracted and withdrawn and full of fear and anxiety until I was 40 years old. At age 40, I had a gift given to me, or perhaps I aligned myself with the gift, and that was of sobriety. And that began the essence and the journey of who I really am today, and to come a little bit into balance and a knowing of the more fundamental expression of life in this universe. Up until that age, I had no idea, nor did I want to have any idea of anything beyond the physical. And so that began the story of, or the journey really, of Johnny Medicine Bear. In this lineage, I am not a Native American on the physical plane, but my heritage is of the Shoshone from southwestern Idaho, up in that area. And I connected with Medicine Bear on a shamanic journey during a workshop where we were guided into a past life experience where we were of service. And during that experience, Medicine Bear, Johnny, well, not Johnny Medicine Bear, but the original Medicine Bear from about 1,000 years ago, he came into my experience, and when I returned, he returned with me and has been with me now for pretty much 25 years, along with several other guides and non-physical beings. So in the journey, I've just come to appreciate and to open myself to the more expansive expression of life into the non-physical. And so I have Medicine Bear with me. I have Reiki experience with me that happened, I guess that was about 20 years ago as well. Of course, all the basic things of sobriety, AA, and various meetings and groups like that. So I try not to leave too many stones unturned. I've got a nature that seems willing to risk and to stretch and to explore the unknown. And I've come to appreciate that it's in the unknown, and when I am the most uncomfortable, that the opportunity is there for some sort of learning, growth, or expansion. So it's a pleasure to come here and spend a little time with you, Kristin, and share a little bit.
You're in the midst of writing a book called From Savage to Shaman, which is about your experience going from being in the military to your shamanic journey and your healing modalities. Can you tell us a little bit about how you were guided to write that book and a little bit about what we can expect to read once this book is published?
Thanks, Kristin. I never saw myself as a writer. And matter of fact, I never saw myself as capable. So for pretty much anything, that's a common thread from all addictions, is the low self-worth, of course. And I had no intention up to about a year ago of coming forward with a book. But a teacher on the physical plane came into my life just about this time last year. And more than just the guidance in the verbal, but with the energy surrounding this teacher, she said that she was guided to help position me to come forward with this book project, From Savage to Shaman. And the underlying greater picture of this is, although it's the story of Johnny Medicine Bear, it's a tool to be of service for the veterans in particular that come back from fighting these endless wars, and come back so traumatized that even with the slightest glimpse of reality of what they have participated in, are ready to kill themselves. And somewhere in 20 to 25 a day manage to do that. Mm-hmm. So the guidance to do the book and the guidance to actually write the book has all been through spirit, one way or another. It has been divinely guided. I think I said that right, divinely guided, mm-hmm. And inspired this way. So I've come forward in this last year to write this book. It's in 3 sections, more or less: Into the Darkness, which starts from early childhood and the abuse that I had as a little boy, traumatized on through to the military. Now, I was a fighter pilot in Vietnam. Fighter planes carried bombs as well. And so my mission, my squadron flew at night over there, and I flew almost 200 missions every night, carrying bombs and dropping them and killing people. And then coming back to the bar and singing the praises of war and how these are just, insignificant people like ants on the ground, and we've got to kill them, otherwise they're going to get us, kind of thing. And every day get drunk. That was my life for a year. And so it shoved a lot of trauma, I suppose, as good a way as any to put it, into the basement, where I just stood on the trap door to hold it shut and keep drinking to anesthetize myself. This pattern goes on for everybody in this world at some level, one way or another, we put the things in the basement and stand on it. It's pretty horrifying to look in the basement, but it's also, I've become aware that if one wants to live a life of compassion, love, and freedom at any meaningful level, we have to give up the sensory pleasures. We have to open the trap door, and we have to take a walk through the basement before we can ascend to the attic and go upstairs and start looking around with any meaningful sense of what divinity is about. We've got to clear the basement. There's absolutely no way around it. And it's not for the faint of heart. And so this journey, having my teacher with me for a great bit of this time, was critical for me. I could not have survived the depths of the work that we did to bring these pieces out of the basements, to share in the book, and to bring that energy forward in here. So we have Into the Darkness, which is the accumulation of the trauma. From there, the next section is Into the Shadow. That started at age 40 for me when I got sober. Now I didn't have a way to anesthetize and run. So all of the things I started pulling out of the basement, the childhood traumas, the abuse by my father, the anger at my mother, it goes on and on and on, but nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And so with that, this is the shadow work. This is about the energy patterns that are loose, running around down below the surface. So harmonizing these energy patterns, we can never cut them off. We have to own them and diffuse the energy one way or another. And some don't survive this. It's, well, okay, you come back, try it again. But that's really our work. And then Into the Light will be the last section of this. And that's from when I met my teacher last June, roughly. And it is the final ascension into a space of relative freedom, peace, such that I don't have nightmares anymore. And I don't have the shakes, and I don't have desire to kill myself or anyone else. And so I let flies out of the house. If I can catch the little guys, sometimes I just open the door and tell them. But nonetheless, this man right here was all about killing and the hold them at bay, hold them at bay, hold them at bay. I'll do anything so that nobody comes inside of me.
Right.
So, and that's what the savage is, the archetype of the savage, not to be confused with the warrior. We use warrior, in my view, incorrectly, many people do, but the savage is the unconscious killing, without any sort of remorse or guilt, is the Roman soldier running down the hill with the sword. That's it. The fighter pilot that just goes out.
Right.
And
brainwashing from the military that tells you that this is your job, and so there's a belief system, and if you look at the word belief, there's lie in there, LIE, because you come to believe that. You come to believe what people tell you to do. This is your job. You have to do it, and you're going to have to encompass everything about being a savage, which is unfortunate. I mean, it in today's society, or just historically speaking, I'm clearly a pacifist and do not believe in certain things that our military tells us that we need to believe in. So you were able to take this kind of horrific job that you had, and you self-medicated, and then you came out after you got sober, kind of seeing the truth. That's what I am picking up on. So you see this truth, and you know that there's a better way. There's a more enlightened and evolved way to live as a human being.
This is very accurate, Kristin. It is extremely accurate. And it's like a snowball. Once one is involved in that military, the soldier is an acronym for savage. It's the same thing. It's without thought, without conscience. We go and carry the order, whether it's drop a bomb on somebody or put them on the end of the rifle and shoot them. It doesn't matter. It is still savage energy. Mm-hmm. And the warrior, on the other hand, just for clarity, the warrior is an energy of protection. The warrior is an energy of strength, like the guard at the gate. They check the ID card. Nope, go away. You can't come in. And warrior energy is lacking in, well, I know in myself as a child it was. People, my father came in, stole my emotional gold. What defense does a kid have? So the warrior energy goes away, and we just buy into everything. So this is what the book is about: is the darkness, the shadow into the light, and it's hopefully will be a tool. I put it on a website here. And
have you found it to be cathartic writing this book? Because obviously you've been able to supersede this dogma and this part of your history for a very long time. But revisiting it, is it cathartic? Is it upsetting? What kind of emotions were you going through as you were exploring writing this book?
Well, that's a very good question. Thank you for the opportunity to share that piece. I thought that I was really clear with my shadow energy and the energy of the savage. It's 25 years ago, I did a piece on that at these workshops that I was a participant with. And the savage came out, and a lot of work was done with that. But in this last year, I would not have been able to survive this last year had it not been for my teacher and the energy. This was a very high vibrational woman that became part of my life in this last year, and could hold that space while we went back there to Vietnam. And the memories and the nightmares came back, and I say countless. There's only in 6 months, 180 days, so it's not countless, but about half of those nights I wound up crying my eyes out every night, because it was back there, and the vivid dreams were back again about people blowing up, things like that. But I stayed the course, and she was able to hold the space for me so that I wouldn't pull the kitchen knife out and shove it in my heart. And the suicidal tendencies were there. I could feel them in this last 6 months, but I held the course and was held by my friends and spirit and everything else. And so now that's been harmonized, and I've pulled through that. So yeah, but it's so healing for me. I've never thought I could write a book, and it's going to happen. So,
well, good. I'm as your friend, I'm proud of you, and I think that this healer came into your life at the perfect time. So
Perfect time.
You did your travels to Asia, you went back to Vietnam, you spent time in India, around the same time that our Earth was seeing these different energy shifts and these different energy patterns, which have kind of, I call it a shift show, which has led us up to where we are now. So you were the preemptive, the beginning part of the shift that we're seeing now with the pandemic and the divisiveness that we have in our country and some of the different craziness that's going on with the riots and whatnot. So I think that she came into your life at the exact right time, and this will propel you to, I mean, this is going to be a book for everybody. I don't think that you're going to need to be a Vietnam vet or a vet of any war to relate to this, because I think we all have our own inner demons, so to speak, these demons that rear their ugly head. And if we're lucky or if we're open and receptive, our guides help us lead the way, help us evolve our soul to become better human beings on this plane. And by you writing your experience, a myriad of people are going to be able to relate on many different levels. I can feel the energy of this book as you talk about it. I feel the energy, I feel the words, and I'm so excited about that. So we are going to actually take a break, and we are going to have a second segment with Johnny Medicine Bear right after this. So please stay tuned. Thank you.